Hoo-wee. Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I am Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight episode for the Ultimate Fighter 18 finale. Nate Diaz versus Gray Maynard was the main event. Yeah, this was a really good main card. I was really impressed by all the fights. Just, you had, good decisions, you had good knockouts, you had a submission, you had a little bit of everything in this main card. So let's get started with the main event. In the lightweight division, we had Nate Diaz versus Gray Maynard. Nate Diaz, he's one of the guys that stole the show. I was extremely happy he won the fight. I was rooting for him, but I didn't think he was going to win. Sorry, Nate Diaz. Learned my lesson. Try not to pick against you, but yeah, I'm glad you won. It was one of those things where I wanted him to win, but I didn't think he was going to win. And yeah, Nate Diaz won by TKO punches round 1. I think the ref stopped it a little too early. I think Gray Maynard wasn't completely out, but I understand the ref wanted to be better safe than sorry. But yeah, Nate Diaz he won the match. He was winning, and yeah, Nate Diaz, he has good boxing. Nate Diaz goes up the ranks in the top 10 again, so hopefully he'll get another crack at the title soon. And Gray Maynard, only time will tell where he goes from here. Yeah, it was a first round finish, so yeah, it was a stand-up war, and Nate Diaz won the stand-up war, landed the strikes, and won TKO punches round 1. That pretty much sums up that match. Then in the women's bantamweight division, we had the Ultimate Fighter finale for who's going to be the Ultimate Fighter of Season 18 women's bantamweight division. We had Julia Pena versus Jessica Rakoczy. Yeah, I knew it. Juliana Pena would get a takedown, and she got a good mount, and she just kept teeing off in that mount position over and over and over and over and over again. And I wasn't sure when the ref was going to stop the match. She was on top of Jessica for a long time, just teeing off in that mount position. And towards the end of it, I thought, oh, maybe Jessica will survive this round. I'll go to round 2. But 1 second left in the round, the ref stops the match, and I think Juliana would have continued to do the same thing in round 2 and 3 had it gone to the other rounds. Congrats to Juliana Pena. I knew she would win, but I hope we see a lot more of Jessica in the UFC. Yeah, Jessica just needs to work on her ground game. She needs to work on her takedown defense and her ground game, and she'll be fine because she has a stand-up, and she just needs to work on her takedown defense more, which I think she has been, and she's getting better at. So, Jessica, hang in there. You'll be back. Bigger, better, stronger. But yeah, Juliana Pena, our first Ultimate Fighter, women's Ultimate Fighter winner. That was a good, exciting match. The Venezuelan Vixen, I believe it is. That's her nickname. Then in the men's bantamweight division, we had Chris Holdsworth versus Davey Grant. Yeah, I was impressed. Yeah, this was a second round submission rear naked choke for Chris Holdsworth. And yeah, Chris Holdsworth, he was just dominant in that first round, going for submission after submission after submission. And I was kind of right, that Davey Grant would defend it for a while, and I thought eventually Davey Grant would get a knockout. But no, Chris Holdsworth, he went after the submissions again in round 2, and got the rear naked choke pretty easily. Good transitioning from Chris Holdsworth. And yeah, again, I'm a fan of both these guys, Davey Grant and Chris Holdsworth. Really impressive. Chris Holdsworth's undefeated still. And now our Season 18 winner of the Ultimate Fighter in bantamweight division, men's bantamweight division. So good job, Chris Holdsworth. Then also, then in the women's bantamweight division, going back to the women's bantamweight division in the main card, we had Jessamine Duke versus Peggy Morgan. Yeah, this one I should have thought about it more. Jessamine Duke is a Muay Thai specialist. She put on a Muay Thai kickboxing clinic on Peggy Morgan and just dominated her, landed more strikes by a landslide per round. But Peggy Morgan, she hung in there. She was tough. I just thought that Peggy Morgan would have the heavier hands and it would just take that one or two clean shots to win the fight. And plus she had the reach and height advantage, but not by much. She's only like a couple inches taller than Jessamine, which I also forgot about. But yeah, I'm a fan of both Jessamine Duke and Peggy Morgan. They're both off Team Rousey. And yeah, that was just a, if you want to learn about good Muay Thai technical kickboxing, then watch that match. I mean, she put on Muay Thai kickboxing showcase in that match. That sums up that whole match right there. She won by unanimous decision, 30-27, easily. And yeah, that was a exciting fight, a lot of action. Then also in the women's bantamweight division, we had Roxanne Modafferi versus Raquel Pennington. Yeah, you know, I thought that Roxanne Modafferi would win by submission at some point, because I didn't think Raquel Pennington was that good on the ground to the point where she would defend the submissions that well, but she did. And yeah, Raquel Pennington won by unanimous decision. Yeah, that was a good fight. And Raquel, I knew Raquel would dominate on the stand-up probably more so, but Roxanne, she has worked on her stand-up quite a bit. But yeah, Raquel Pennington, she dominated on the stand-up, defended the submissions, got the fight back standing, continued to land more shots, and route to a unanimous decision victory. Yeah, Raquel Pennington, she's well-rounded. She's not specific on one thing. Her ground game's good, her stand-up's good. It's not like the greatest. She's not like the greatest in the world at one particular thing. She's just overall well-rounded. And it's just a matter of her getting better and, like Dana White said, letting her hands go. I think she could have let her hands go more in this fight. And had she done it, she would have been even more dominant on the stand-up. But good job, Raquel Pennington. And yeah, we'll see more of her in the UFC for sure. Then an honorable mention on the prelims. Tom Niinimäki took out Hani Yahya in impressive fashion. Tom Niinimäki, gotta mention him. He's a Scandinavian fighter. You know, from fans of my show know that I gotta root for a lot of these Scandinavian fighters. He's Finnish. He's from Finland. He didn't get the finish, but he won by unanimous decision. And yeah, I guess I should say Hani Yahya didn't get the finish. Get it? Okay. But yeah, Tom Niinimäki. Yeah, this was a featherweight bout. Tom Niinimäki, he grappled with Hani Yahya constantly. And I thought, oh man, check your ego at the door, please. Just keep it stand-up. You could win this on the stand-up. And Tom just dominated him on the ground, went for submissions. There's a couple times where Tom looked like he was almost going to get submitted, but he knew what he was doing. You could tell he was controlled, composed, was like, I can get out of this, no biggie. And he won by split decision. I think it should have been at least 29-28 unanimous decision for Tom Niinimäki. All three judges. But, Should have been on all 3 judges, but yeah, you know, regardless, doesn't matter. He won by at least split decision. Yeah, so we're going to see more of Tom in the featherweight division for sure. He looked really good. Yeah, really impressive. So that wraps up the post-fight show for Ultimate Fighter 18 finale. Stay tuned for my next episode, which will be a pre-fight show for Antonio Silva versus Mark Hunt. That fight is coming up soon, so I'll do a pre-fight on that. So stay tuned for that, and until then, see ya.